What's up, guys? And welcome back to the Beautiful Twin Sisters podcast.
All my
Beautiful twin sisters.
sisters. Beautiful twin sisters. Beautiful twin sisters.
Guys, I know what you're thinking. What is going on? Where is our co-host, Ashley Alexander? What happened? Let me tell you. This girl is so crazy. As you probably heard on the last episode, she was in the process of losing her voice. And because she loved the way it sounded so much, she talked so much more than I've ever heard her talk before that day. And then the next morning, she woke up and actually couldn't speak at all. Her vocal cords were fried. She completely used up her voice and couldn't talk anymore. And I was like, okay, there goes our plan for filming the podcast, because we had to film a second one the next day because she was leaving the following day to go to San Francisco to visit Kelly and his family. So in the one day that we had to film, she had no voice. And then she had to fly out the next day. And I was like, okay, thank you, Ashley, for sabotaging this podcast and losing your voice. Thank you so much. Her voice is feeling better now, but it never got better to the point where we could film together before she left. She recorded this as proof that she lost her voice.
Hi guys, this is proof that my voice is gone. Shouldn't have done the last podcast with my voice being weird because I actually almost couldn't talk yesterday. And I'm going on a trip with Kelly's family, so she's gonna feed you guys with the solo pod. So I will see you next week. Bye.
So yeah, you heard it here first, guys. You're getting pranked this week with a solo episode that's just me. I'm a freak and you're stuck with me, okay? And if you guys hate it, we never have to do this again, but I just figured, why not try it out? Why not spice up the pod a little bit? We technically had no other choice. It was either this or skipping the podcast this week, so I figured let's have a bit of fun. And I'm not completely alone. As you can see, I am joined by some little guests. I have the freaking Among Us guy, a red Among Us plushie. I'm pretty sure one of you guys sent us this a while back, during COVID. So I got him with me today, along with a Alexander family staple, a recurring character in our videos, Tofu with the hair. This is a little tofu block that one of you guys also sent us. I'm pretty sure this is hand stitched or so. I have no idea. But it's a beautiful little tofu cube with the little leaf on its head. Except we also have these mini clip-on bangs. Oh my god. But we turned them into a tiny wig for Tofu. And we turned him into Tofu with the hair. And this is who you know and love now on our freaking channel. And it's been a while since anyone has seen him. But he's still alive and well. And he's right here with me on this podcast as my little co-host. And as you can see, I'm not in our usual filming location. I'm back at home in upstate New York at my parents' house. This is my freaking childhood bedroom, guys. I don't know if you can tell, there's actually no essence of childhood in this room because I used to have purple walls, and then in high school I repainted them to be white. And I just took any ounce of character out of this freaking room, and now it's a very sterile environment. I got plain white bed sheets as well. Yeah, really no essence of childhood or me in this room at all. And when I went to college, it kind of got turned into the family storage room because obviously I wasn't here and they needed to put stuff somewhere. So that whole side of the room is filled with boxes and stuff that we need to probably just donate one day, but we haven't gotten to it yet. But this is my life, and I'm staying here for a couple weeks or so. I just wanted to come home because I wanted to give the parents some company. Andrew had to go back to college a couple weeks ago. He's starting his junior year at Chapman University in California. Ashley is visiting Kelly on the West Coast. I was going to be alone in New York if I didn't come back upstate, so I figured why not spend some time with the family? So here I am. I took the train up here a couple nights ago. The train is so fun from New York. I take it so often that I forget how nice it is. I really take it for granted, but it's a 2 or 3 hour train ride up from New York City. I forget that where I grew up in upstate New York, it's very easy to take a day trip to the city, leave in the morning, come back at night, get your little goodies, bring them home for your family. So I forgot that was a thing until this last time I took the train up. I think I was just on a weekend train at 11 p.m. So everyone was coming back from their little trips. And it's so funny to see what people bring back home after they visit the city. Because I always think I'm just going home. I just need my luggage. I don't have to bring any souvenirs. But the lady sitting next to me was this little old lady with just one bag from Magnolia Bakery, which is a really famous bakery in New York City. They're famous for their banana pudding. And I was like, oh my God, how cute. This lady just went to the city for the day, got her banana pudding. Now she's on her way home. home. It is so fun. And then this old guy in front of me just had a bouquet of flowers. And I was like, whoa, that's so nice. This guy was out of town for the day. He's coming back with flowers for his wife or whoever. And it's just so silly because obviously I live in the city now and it's not as like mystical to me. But I forget that it's such a cute little thing that everybody from upstate loves to just visit and get their goodies and come home. And it was so cute to witness a lot of that on the train. I feel like I don't usually see people with like literally souvenirs or like snacks on the train, but I saw a lot of that this time and it was really fun. And for the first time ever, I actually joined them in bringing home a souvenir. Not like a classic souvenir like a t-shirt, but a gift for my parents that I know they would love. If you guys don't know, I think we've talked about it before. We love this place called 7th Street Burger in New York City. It's basically like New York's version of In-N-Out, but it's so much better. Because I don't know if you guys have had In-N-Out, but their fries are basically like little sticks of cardboard. I don't know why they've stuck to that recipe the whole time. They're so ass. They're kind of like so bad that they're like kind of good because it's just like a classic thing that they have. But I'm just like, girl, why don't you change the recipe? This is like the worst thing on your menu. And it's such an important part of like a burger meal. But 7th Street Burger has all of the perks of In-N-Out with better fries. So that is really what's special to me. And I think their burgers are a bit more like smash burger style and not so much like lettuce tomato on it. It's mostly just like burger cheese mystery sauce. So it's a little bit heavier, but they're so tiny. It's just like a little morsel of like the most delicious flavor. And I don't even give a damn about burgers, but these are actually so good. So if you ever visit the city, New York City, you got to go to 7th Street Burger, okay? And my parents love it. They've only been one time because my mom visits us pretty often in the city, but my dad is usually staying home to watch the pets because somebody's got to keep an eye on them. So my dad has only been able to visit us once in New York City. I think like in the spring he came down. And when he visited, we were like, okay, there's only one place I know my dad needs to go to, and it's 7th Street Burger, because I just know in my brain he's going to love this place. And we got 7th Street Burger, and of course, he ate it up. And since he visited that one day in the spring, he has not stopped talking about it since. Every time I talk to him, he's like, you get 7th Street Burger today? Or he's literally wearing a 7th Street Burger sweatshirt. They gave us merch because I guess a couple of the workers there are fans of Kelly and Ashley, so they gifted us some merch. It was like a large maroon 7th Street Burger sweatshirt, and we gave it to our dad because we were like, you know what? He really loves this place. Let's give him that sweatshirt. And he wears it almost every day, and it's so funny because I'm like, what the hell, Dad? Like, don't you have other clothes? But he just loves the 7th Street Burger sweatshirt. And honestly, like, it looks good. It's a nice merch sweatshirt. And every time I FaceTime my parents, he has it on. So that's all to say, my parents are really big fans of this place. And when I was about to get on the train, I was like, why do I always come home empty-handed? I should bring some like actual food and like good stuff back. I think because New York is so not mystical and magical to me anymore, I forget that I can like bring home treats for my parents and it's like still very special to them. And also just in general, it's nice for me to bring stuff. But I've never like really thought about it. So then this time, right before I got on the train, I was like, okay, I could bring home like baked goods from a bakery. I could bring whatever, but I know what they really want is a greasy 7th Street Burger. So before I got on the train, I DoorDashed 6 burgers to my apartment to pack with me for my train ride. I got 5 regular burgers and 1 Impossible Burger because I still, for some reason, prefer the Impossible one because I'm not too used to eating real meat yet. And so as I'm leaving the house, I get my little DoorDash order and it's already like so steamy and like condensating so much that the paper bags that they came in are starting to like fall apart. And I'm like, oh my God, these have to survive 3 hours on a fucking train. So I put them in like a plastic grocery bag and I head on my way to the train. And I sit on that train for 3 hours with this stanky beef bag next to me. I actually don't think they released too bad of an odor, but I could definitely sense like a little bit of like, oh, those burgers are sweating in there. And so while the nice lady next to me has her little banana pudding, the guy in front of me has his flowers, I got freaking beef getting all mushy and wet and moist in this plastic bag. And finally I arrive at home, my parents pick me up from the train station, and of course my dad is already wearing his maroon 7th Street Burger sweatshirt. I mean, I'm not surprised, of course he is. And he is ready, but he doesn't know yet. And so we get home, and I like have my luggage, my backpack, whatever, and I have this like suspicious plastic baggie, and my parents are like, what did you bring home? is that like food? What do you have in there? And I was like, oh, I brought you guys some treats. And they were like, oh, is it like cookies? What's in there? And I was like, no, it's burgers. I like lift up the bag and it fucking disintegrates. Like the paper bag at that point is like mush. So I lift up the plastic bag, all of the paper melts and 6 burgers just spill out on the table. And I was like, oh my God, it was so funny. It was like a fucking magic trick where I just lifted it off and they were all there. And my parents were like, what the hell? Like, it was so funny. I was expecting them to be at least a little bit disgusted because those burgers were pretty moist and 3 hours old at that point. But they were hyped and they were like, oh my God, this is so sweet. Thank you so much, Amber. Oh my God, I can't wait. And mind you, it was like 12:30 at night, like midnight 30. They were not hungry. They were not trying to eat. But when I pulled out those burgers, they were like, oh, I guess it's time for second dinner. So we all had like a mini dinner at the table at freaking like 1 a.m, eating our burgers. And it was so nice. And I was like, oh, I should think about bringing gifts home more often because that was really hilarious. And my parents ate it up. Oh my God. And my dad was so happy. I have this photo I took of him because he was literally wearing the hoodie, the 7th Street merch, while eating the burger, and it was so funny. So that was a really nice welcome home. We had our little burger dinner. Something else that also happened on the train was this lady in front of me, this old lady, she was obviously having trouble getting her luggage down once we arrived at our stop. And I was like, oh, let me be a nice civilian for once. Let me offer to help this lady. So I was like, oh, do you need help with your bag? And she looked at me and she's like, yeah, you look much stronger than I do. Could you help me? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. And as I reach up for her luggage, I realized that I unbuttoned and unzipped my jorts. If you don't know, I love my jorts, but they're starting to get a little bit tight on me. So I keep unbuttoning them and unzipping them everywhere I go. Like when I'm sitting on a train for 3 hours, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna unbutton those. And I forgot. So as I raise my arms up to grab her bag, it like exposes my jorts that are basically falling off of my butt. And then I was like, oh, but I'm like mid grabbing her bag for her. So as I'm doing that, I'm also simultaneously pranking her ass because I'm like, oh, look at me, my pants are falling down. And so I don't think it showed anything too crazy. And I was luckily wearing very conservative underwear. It was kind of like a boy boxer brief vibe. So nothing crazy, very demure, as they say. But it was just crazy. Like, I tried to be nice, and then I literally pranked this poor woman's ass, and I'm like, hey, actually, look at my underwear right now. Like, oh, you thought I was grabbing your luggage? No, actually, look at my undies. So that was crazy. That's what I get for trying to be nice. I should know better. I just got that really evil and despicable, off-putting vibe. I need to be kept away from other people, so I learned my lesson. I will not be offering help to anyone anymore. Yeah, that was just very sad for me because I was like, here you go. I just like walked away like, I'm sorry. She probably would have preferred to grab her luggage herself if she knew she was about to get fucking flashed. Just kidding. She did not get flashed. But it was just like, come on. I look like a fucking oaf right now. Jorts falling off my butt. It's so stupid. I'm such a freaking... it's fine. At least she got her luggage, right? Comment down below. Comment down below. At least she got her luggage. Well, my mom's texting me because she's bringing home Chinese food. Let's go. Both of my parents are at work right now while I'm recording the freaking pod in their house. Like the freaking degenerate that I am. Just kidding, guys. I'm having a great time. And so is the Red Among Us guy, right? He's having so much fun. Something else I've been thinking about a lot is my relationship with gift giving. Specifically to my parents, because the last time I lived at home, I was 17 years old, a little baby, teenager vibe, and when I went to college, I really developed my skills of gift giving and cooking and baking, which are all intermingled, because my favorite type of gift to give is the gift of food, but I didn't really hone in on that skill and that craft until I was fully at college across the country. Now that is something that is very easy to me. I can cook a whole dinner for a group of people, no problem. I don't think twice about it. I can bake cookies for someone. I can do anything at the drop of a hat. I love doing it. And it's a common thing for me. But I realized I haven't lived with my parents in so long. And somehow I've never really done all that for my parents. Like I have in like small amounts, but never like as much as I have for some of my friends. Just because I haven't seen my parents that much since I've grown up, literally, which is kind of crazy because even just bringing home like 7th Street Burger, I was like, this feels like one of the nicer things I've done for my parents, and it was so small. And I was like, why don't I like think to be really kind to my parents as often. And now that I'm older, I'm thinking about it all the time. But it was just weird to have this moment, like this past year, where I was like, what the hell? Like, I can actually do nice things for my parents now because I'm mature and old enough and have learned enough things to be able to do it. What? This doesn't make any sense. But the main reason I think this is because when Bubby died, Ashley and I took the first train up. We got there the very next day. And obviously we were all distraught AF. Not feeling good. Probably one of our lowest points as a family. I am depressed out of my mind. My mom is barely keeping it together. And I'm like, okay, obviously something I can do that is nice in this moment is make my family dinner. Because making dinner for me is a very easy thing. I love to cook. I love to get my mind off of stuff and slice a little vegetables, put stuff in the oven, whatever, while giving my mom a break from doing any labor for the night, right? Like, let me do a little task. But as I was cooking, I realized this is the first time I've properly made dinner for my family, which sounds horrible, and I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know why it's taking me this long. I haven't lived at home in a long time. And I think also a big thing I realized was when I did live at home back in high school, I was vegan and my parents and the rest of my family were not. So that was already a divide between like the foods we could eat. I couldn't really properly cook them a dinner that they wanted to eat. Like, I could make them a vegan dinner, but I don't think they wanted that. So we had pretty separate dinners. Anytime I made food for the family, it was like vegan cookies or like my weird vegan chicken dinner, which nobody really wants to eat a full meal of. So now that I'm older, I'm out of college, I live in the same state as my parents again, I'm able to provide and cook more stuff, more than I was able to in high school, obviously. So it was interesting that my first time really cooking dinner for my family, like a full dinner where my mom didn't have to lift a finger or help in any way, was the freaking day Bubby died. And I was like, oh, this is kind of annoying, because why is this the first time? Why does it have to be on like such a sad day? Like, why does it take Bubby dying for me to cook my family dinner? Obviously that's like an exaggeration, but that is what happened. So the whole time I'm cooking, I'm like trying not to think about Bubby, and I'm like also thinking, why am I such a fucking imbecile? Why is this my first time cooking a proper dinner? But at the same time, I'm hyped because you know what I'm making? Bangers and mash. You ever heard of bangers and mash? It's a British dish that is just sausage and mashed potatoes. Bangers and mash. I got this from Gordon Ramsay because you know how he is, Mr. Scotland himself. He's from Scotland, right? I think he is. But this is a dish that I cooked in college for the first time, and it quickly became one of my favorite dishes because it's very easy, but very hearty and comforting. So I figured this would be a great time to pull it out. We are mourning, of course. We need some family-style food. So I cook it all up. I plate it for my family, and we sit down together to eat this meal that I've cooked. I made Ashley a vegan sausage. I made bratwurst for the rest of us, and some onion gravy and whatnot, so it was all very delicious. My mom takes her first bite. Mind you, she is not doing well, right? Bubby just died the night before. We're not doing good. We're not doing well. But my mom takes her first bite of the bangers and mash, and I see her eyes light up for the first time, and she's like, oh my God, this is so good. What is in this? Did you make it all homemade? What's in the gravy? And you mashed those potatoes yourself? And have you made this recipe before? Where did you find this? And she's asking me all these questions, and she's so excited. Like, she's trying to learn how to make the recipe herself. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so heartbroken because my poor mom, like, obviously has just been through way too much in the past day. And then I make her this dinner, and she's so excited. I'm like, oh, it's just like a little thing of cooking dinner for my parents means obviously so much to them. And it was really nice to know that the dinner was well received and they liked it. But I was just like, oh, this is like very bittersweet because obviously we're dealing with some fucked up shit in our house right now. A freaking dog died. But my mom is just so happy to eat a little hearty dinner. And oh my God, I remember she said like, this is so special. I'm really gonna remember this. And I was like, oh my God, what? Like, I was so sad. I just felt so fucking, I can't like verbalize properly how that made me feel, but I mean, I think you can understand. It was very bittersweet. That is the best word I can think. But yeah, it's just interesting because I haven't lived at home since high school. And now that I've really like developed my personality and developed my ability to give gifts and do nice things for people, I am most excited to do it for my parents. Because like I can cook dinner for like my college friends and they'll be like, oh yeah, thank you. But my parents really, really take it like very personally and really care about it. So I am excited to do more of that for my parents. I'm excited to cook them more meals. I'm going to do that while I'm at home for the next couple weeks. I kind of unofficially am living at home for maybe 2 to 3 weeks just because I want to spend more time with my parents. Obviously, we've covered this in the Bubby podcast, but it is very hard for them to be at home by themselves with just the cat because obviously I've lived a lot of my life at college, a lot of my recent life, and I now live in New York City. I'm used to not being around Bubby for long periods of time. But for my parents, they are in the same house they've always been in, minus the one, like, main other being that they spent their time with. So it's really hard for them to be in this house and, like, not have Bubby's usual sounds, Bubby's company on the couch, stuff like that. So I'm here to, like, kind of fill that space. And also just because I want to be with my parents. Ashley's out of town anyways. I don't want to be down in New York City by myself. So I'm loving to be with my family. It is kind of upsetting, though, because on the day that Bubby died, we didn't know he was dying, right? Like, nobody knew because it happened so suddenly. So I was at New York City just living my regular life, getting my nails done. And I'm sitting, apparently, while Bubby is dying, my nails are getting painted, but I have no idea yet. And I'm talking to my friend Michaela, who's getting her nails done next to me. And I'm saying to her, like, yeah, I don't know how much I'm loving New York City right now. I feel like I kind of need a break. I kind of want to move home for like a month and just spend time with my parents and Bubby and Kitty. Meanwhile, Bubby's fucking dying and I don't know it. But I'm telling her, like, oh, I have this plan where I kind of want to go home for a while just to really spend time with them. And she was like, oh, yeah, you should do that then. Like, just go home. Like, if you don't have anything tying you here, really, then just, like, take a little break. And so I'm making this plan, like, yeah, I think I'm going to go home soon. And then as I get out of the nail salon, my mom is calling all of us. And, like, I go home and I hear the news. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Because I was just making a plan to, like, live with Bubby at home for the next month. And I'm like, oh, I was a day too late? Are you kidding me? So that's what's, like, kind of the most frustrating is, like, literally as Bubby was taking his last breath, I was making plans to spend a bunch of time with him. I was really missing Bubby. Oh my God, I'm so sad. And it just sucks because the last time we saw him was Nantucket on our family vacation, which obviously was not at our own house. And it was vacation, so it was very sporadic. I didn't really get to spend a lot of proper time with Bubby because we were like, let's go to the beach. Let's go do our usual vacation things. Nobody thought Bubby was going to die soon. Like, it didn't seem... I mean, if we knew Bubby was going to die a couple weeks later, we probably wouldn't have gone to Nantucket. We probably would have stayed at home and, like, just chilled with him. Or, I don't know, I'm glad we went to Nantucket because he actually was in perfectly good health and had a really good time at Nantucket. But it's just weird knowing that his death was right around the corner and none of us had any idea. I mean, if you watch the Nantucket vlogs, you would have no idea that dog was having any issues. We still don't know what took him out. It was just some underlying health issue that we didn't know about because he just... But yeah, it was very upsetting to me when I learned of his death because I was like, I was literally about to buy a ticket to go home to spend time with Bubby, and I was a day too late. And if I had just had that realization, like, just 24 hours sooner, I could have changed the trajectory. Is that the word? Oh my God, trajectory? What is the word? Trajectory. What? Wait, guys, I'm having a brain fart. This is so embarrassing, and I'm gonna watch this back later and know the word. Is it trajectory? I have to look this up. Trajectory! I'm such an idiot. Okay, I could have changed the trajectory of Bubby's life or his final days, and maybe if I had been home, maybe he would still be here. And that's kind of something that all of us are dealing with, is like the guilt of, what if I did this instead? Maybe he'd still be here if I hadn't left the house this day, if I got home a little bit sooner, if blah, blah, blah. Like, so that is just something that is really hard to deal with. And for me, I'm like, it's just an extra little, like, stab in my chest knowing that I was talking about it while he was dying. And I'm like, ah. And something else that is very weird about getting my nails done is that if you get your nails done, you know, this is kind of like rings on a tree vibe. Like, as your nails grow out, you see how much time has passed because you see the area that is not covered in paint. Like, I see the new growth of my nails, which is a way for me to measure time. It measures the amount of time that has happened since I got my nails done, which for me is literally the second that Bubby died. So as I've watched my nails grow out, it's been like a way of tracking the time and kind of grounding myself, because sometimes it feels like Bubby just died an hour ago, and sometimes it feels like he's been dead for like 10 years. And it's crazy for me to just look at my nails and be like, no, it's been this long. I can physically see how long it's been, which makes me feel psycho because this does not look right. Like, how is this a measurement of how long it's been? But I don't know, it's just crazy, and I hate having my nails as a reminder of, like, literally, like, the worst day of my life so far. Oh, I don't know. I just feel crazy. And usually my nails are something that I, like, kind of fidget with and play with to pass the time and if I'm anxious. And it's weird that obviously my main source of anxiety right now is the passing of Bubby. And then this is so heavily tied to his passing that I'm like, just don't feel good. I do not love it. Wow. Tofu in the sun is really sitting in the sunlight right now. This is crazy. The sun is really coming through the window right now. But yeah, that's just what I've been thinking. I'm very existential at the moment. I feel like Bubby's death shook my whole life and everything that I know. And I got Bubby when I was 10 years old. And obviously I feel like at 10 years old, you're like barely conscious. Like I barely have any memories, like really strong memories of like what I was doing with my life at that point. And so knowing that the last time I didn't have Bubby, I was a fucking baby. And now this chapter is closed and I'm like pretty clearly into adulthood and Bubby's entire life is done. It is packaged up into one little 12.5-year box and that's it. And I'll never be able to reopen that again. And it's just done. I feel crazy. I don't know what it's like to have this house without Bubby. Because I feel like this house is Bubby's house. Like every corner of this house was his. It is not right to have it be so empty and quiet. Because Bubby really provided a lot of the life and the noise and everything in this house. And now it's just gone. So it's also weird knowing that. Because a lot of you guys have sent us messages, which we're so thankful for, that say like, oh, I lost my dog 3 years ago. Trust me, it gets better. Like you will work through it. And I just feel nuts because hearing that perspective from someone who's experienced that years ago and is now in the future, like past that point, is crazy because I do not like the idea of knowing that years from now I'm gonna have to say like, oh yeah, Bubby died 3 years ago. It's been 5 years without Bubby. I can't believe it's been 10 years since Bubby died. Like I don't like that the rest of my life I'm gonna have to measure from this point. Like I'm always gonna have this day that Bubby died in my mind, and the rest of my life is just moving on from that point. And there's always going to be like some form of measurement. Like I'm always going to see it that way. I feel like obviously Bubby was never going to live forever, but I really didn't think he was going to die that soon. And I think technically he did die of old age and like underlying medical issues, which sounds right for an old dog. Like it sounds like the right way for a 12.5-year-old dog to die. But the way that it happened and how quickly it happened really is not sitting right with any of us because none of us had the time to process that Bubby could even die remotely soon. Like, oh my God, it's just so weird. Sorry, I moved the camera angle one more time because the light was getting crazy. But something nicer that's come from Bubby's passing is I think Kitty feels a lot more comfortable in our house, which is obviously kind of sad because I wish it didn't take Bubby dying for Kitty to feel like super comfortable, like jumping around in our house, because I think some cats are very cuddly and cozy and they just want to sit in one place and whatever, but Kitty is the opposite, where she does not want to be hugged. She just wants to like jump off the walls and like chase things. Like she's very playful. And when Bubby was around, he was very much guard dog mode, where if Kitty tried to like run somewhere really fast or like suddenly start playing, he would kind of run up and like get in her business and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So Kitty never got to like play to her fullest extent because Bubby was always there like kind of monitoring her. Something nice that has come out of this is that we've seen Kitty kind of unlock a new side of her personality where she is like so playful. Like I almost can't believe it. Like I've never seen a cat more playful than our cat. I'm so serious. She's bouncing off the walls and it's really silly to see her have that new freedom, I guess. And as we said, I think Kitty witnessed Bubby's passing. Like she understood fully what was happening. And so in the days since his death, she's been very close to us, like more than ever. She's been sitting in a lot of Bubby's spots, like his usual places she's taken over. And me and my mom are trying to decide if she's just like learned that behavior of like, oh, I guess this is what the pet does. Like, I guess the pet is supposed to sit on the couch. Or we're wondering if like she's always secretly wanted to sit in those places and like be my mom's lap dog. And now she has the freedom to do it. So that is a debate in our house right now because she's like suddenly my mom's new couch buddy. And like when my mom goes to the bathroom, she'll like walk in just like how Bubby did. And she's like, what the heck? I wonder if Kitty's just doing that because like Bubby's not here to do it anymore, or if she's always secretly wanted to be that close to my mom. I like to think that Bubby is mind controlling Kitty and making her follow my mom around, but who knows? It's been really fun. And Kitty is so sweet and so much more chill now. Because her and Bubby tolerated each other for sure. They were actually totally fine together, but I think neither of them could like fully relax or be themselves. It was always just a little bit awkward. So now Kitty is free to do whatever she pleases, and she's been a really good kitty, so we're really lucky to have her. I've also been loving just spending time with my parents because I really miss them, and being home is so nice. We've been going to the gym every day because my dad loves to go to the gym. I think you guys know that. So we've been lifting, which is so silly, and we've been watching Succession, which is this TV show. Oh my god, it's so good. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. It's about this like really dysfunctional family where this dad, who's like 80 years old, owns this billion-dollar company, and he's kind of getting to the point where like he needs to pass on the title of CEO to someone, and all of his kids are kind of fighting for that title, except the dad is so detached from his kids and like never was really there to raise them that all the kids turned out very flawed, and they really just deeply want their dad's approval, but they'll never get it because they will never be good enough for their crazy ass dad. So it is just crazy to watch. It's just so well written and the characters are so complex and deep. It's just like, oh my god, one of the best shows I've ever seen. So I would highly recommend it, and I'm having a great time watching that with my parents. And I guess it's based on a real life family, the Murdoch family that owns Fox, and my mom was hyped to learn that it was based on a true story because she was like, I don't really care about TV unless it's based in reality. That's why I like to watch like reality shows or like documentaries. And I was like, Mom, it is based on a true family. And then she was like, oh my god, the Murdoch family, I know all about them. They're so crazy, blah, blah, blah. This dad did this and he married this woman and they're fighting for all this like money. And I'm like, bro, trust me, I know this shit is crazy. Now sit back and relax and enjoy this freaking show. So it has been really fun to watch that with my parents. I feel like every day we've had this like nice routine where my parents will go to work, then we go to the gym, then we watch our TV show together at night, and it is just very sweet. I am loving to spend time with my family. It is so fun. And it does hurt me a little bit because I was just a little too late at coming home, and I wish my freaking dog was here, but I just have to take it as it is and be thankful for what I have. And I'm very thankful that my family is so nice to spend time with, and I am enjoying being here regardless, so it is just very crazy. I'm also finding a lot of fun shirts here that I need to bring back to my apartment in New York, like this Minecraft shirt. Did I even point this out yet? He's like, it's Minecraft Steve looking all puzzled at a sphere, because obviously Minecraft Steve only knows cubes. That's how Minecraft works. So it's so funny. I love this shirt. And then I feel like we thrift a lot of silly shirts like these, but never actually wear them. Or like we thrift them and then I never see them again in our house. Like they just end up in some pile somewhere. But I found them all in a pile over there. And I'm gonna freaking bring them all back and wear them every day. So I'm hyped for that. Anyways, getting into my favorites of the week. I gotta say Succession, the TV show I'm watching. And also Trader Joe's has these Belgian waffles that they're selling that are like shelf stable, but they have like big chunks of sugar in them. And they're so good. I'll insert a photo right here if I can find it. They're in a little blue package. They're so yummy. I've been eating that with my parents while we watch Succession, and it's lit. And then favorite thing about myself, I think I would have to say that I'm very full of love. And I have a lot of love to give. Because some of you guys DM'd me this quote also that says, grief is love with nowhere left to go. Because obviously I got so much love for Bubby, but he's gone. So I am just like, what do I do with all this like emotion that I'm feeling? And I realized at the end of the day, it's all just love. And I can give that back to my parents, and I can give it to Kitty, and I can enjoy my life as best I can. So that is something I'm realizing is just like the emotional pain I'm feeling is because I have so much love for Bubby and I just don't know what to do with it. So I've been trying to disperse it in other ways, and that has been nice for me. Anyways, I think that's about it for this solo pod. Let me know what you guys think. I had a great time personally. I love a little chit chat with you guys. You know how it is. We love this banter. But if you prefer the duo pod with me and Ashley, of course, I mean, obviously that's what you guys signed up for. Just let me know. We never have to do solo pods again. But I think it could be fun. Like imagine if one day I lose my voice and I go out of town, then Ashley can do a solo pod. I think that would be so silly. Because I think the more flexibility and the more experimentation that we have with this podcast, the more interesting it'll be over time. Like, it's fun to do other things. It's fun to spice it up a little. So just let me know your thoughts. I had so much fun with you guys today. I hope you're all doing well. I'm sending you all the love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It really means so much to me that you guys would even listen to this podcast that is just me. And I hope you had a little bit of fun. Hopefully I'll be joined again by Ashley next week. But for now, that is it. I love you so much. And beautiful twin sister out.
All my
Beautiful twin sisters.
sisters.